Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Civilization 3 Age of Imperialism. Well, we're back again trying to be better than Wilhelm as we play the German Empire. And we are still at war with the United States, but perhaps not for very long, as I am now cleaning up the rest of the mainland here, well, as best I can with the mainland here, before we really have to start, island hopping everywhere, which we're going to have to fight a whole navy for. But yes, welcome back to the series, and welcome back to this. My plans after defeating the United States for this is to pretty much prepare myself for what the British have in store for me next. Now, I have been quite a staunch ally so far in this campaign for the British, but Canada is looking pretty juicy. Taking a big bite out of Britain is pretty much one of the big things that I want to do eventually. And I feel like the earlier the better, before they really start bringing out some ships that will definitely put me in a place that is very uncomfortable. But yes, that's gonna be a thing that I'm gonna have to do. Obviously, this game is a hell of a lot different than, Hearts of Iron and stuff, so you gotta become very, very smart. But at the very same time, you don't have to be that very, very, very smart. Mostly because you don't have naval limits or range limits or anything like that, so you can constantly, go anywhere you want. As long as you can take the heat, you know what I mean? But, yeah. Right now we're trying to siege down Washington, D.C. after we cut it off after taking Cincinnati, St. Louis, Philadelphia. We are making tremendous strides. Perhaps I'm going to try and continue to make tremendous strides, hopefully. Artillery at this point in the game is not very accurate, so we have to tolerate it. And unfortunately, the Chesapeake Bay is absolutely non-existent on the map, so we can't get any naval support, which is pretty rough. But beside the point. Our next target, as I've said in my last video, is Mexico, because Mexico is quite literally the south of us. They don't have the greatest units, and we can pretty much artillery and blast them into rubble. This will set up more industry for us to build a lot more units, a lot of stable units like back in Europe, and we're going to use those to try and take Canada for ourselves. Obviously, we're going to have the big trouble on the home front because we're quite literally right next to the British. So we're going to have to come up with a plan for it. And I have several plans that I have thought out throughout the week. My biggest thing is going to probably be to stack a bunch of units. We're going to make a bunch of cavalry, a bunch of infantry, and we're going to just plop them right in the British Isles with a bunch of artillery to support them, and they're going to just look pretty, essentially. They're going to look pretty, essentially. Yes, they will. I'm going to be taking the main fleet, I believe, that I have here in Boston, and send them back home. I hate to do it, but I might have to. And it looks like the British have lost a little piece of Ireland. That's unfortunate. Who are they fighting against? The French? The French took out Cork. That's what that is, pretty sure. How unfortunate. But that usually means that the British are pretty soft. And yeah, a big thing too in this mod is the fact that the AI will not do what we do, and I mean this like this. So like how I'm using artillery, the AI doesn't use artillery like I do. So they just kind of landed a bunch of troops and said good luck. Essentially, that's exactly what happened. So I do have an idea of how I'm going to be able to fight the British. Declaring war will cause a lot of warmonger issues, and these warmonger issues can, well, they can be a bit of a pain. Um, they can genuinely be a pain. If the AI does not like you, its disposition, it's less likely to talk to you, it's less likely to take deals with you, etc., etc. So the best way that I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna Lusitania it. You know, a little bit of Lusitania. I'm gonna put a U-boat in the way in the path of a convoy, British convoy, and have them accidentally attack it, which will declare war on me. To which I will then get involved. Yes, it is. It's rather ingenious, I know. Uh, it's it's ingenious, I know. It is one of the best plans that I can come up with at the present moment. Um, the only thing I'm more worried about when fighting the British is not my mainland, because that's not it's not an issue, honestly. It's a non-issue. Um, the thing that I'm more worried about when it comes to um, when it boils down to it is that I'm more worried about my colonies, because I like to have colonies in Africa to stage my African campaign when after I'm done kicking the British off their mainland. Now, the British getting kicked off their mainland is definitely not the end. They do have other means of making really, really tough units, and that's because they're dominions and they're colonies. Each colony can produce its own unit, and they're usually almost on par with their mainland units. So taking out their mainland units is a tremendous thing, but it's not going to be like the British will always bounce back if you let them. The only thing that I'm stifling is taking the mainland, is the pretty much stifling their ship production, because all their big ships require industry. And when you go over here to, like, Toronto, Ottawa, the only resource they have is Canada. And their little flags, which allows the Canadians to build quote unquote Canadian units, not ships. Because obviously no Dominion has made their own ships after or during the time of World War One. So there is that, which I'm sure there was a few, but none of the big top of the line ships, I don't think. Like, we're not talking like dreadnoughts or battle cruisers, maybe destroyers, maybe cruisers, but nothing, exorbitantly large scale. But yeah, we are still trying to contest Washington D.C. They put in a bunch of units, as the Civ3 code would always project is to be the best option. So yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of a pain, and not to mention that there's probably a metric ton of freaking militia in here. Home guard. All right, looks like I'm starting to hit their home guard units. Now I'm hitting their militia. There's probably a tremendous amount of them in there. I can't imagine how many is in there. It's gonna take a lot of cavalry to burn this city down, I think. Well, luckily I do have a good bit of cavalry somewhere throughout the United States. Alright. Now, I will say I do keep an eye on, how videos do, how they progress and stuff, and how well they get traction and things. And I have noticed that there was one person who disliked one of the videos, and to which case, you know what? I understand. I'm fighting the United States. Not a very, very good topic. Not very, not very, very good. Not a very good. Yeah, which I understand. But you'll understand that my game will be completely like stifled if I don't do it. So you have to bear with me, my friend. You'll have to bear with me. I am doing this for the good of my game because let me tell you, they will become inevitably the most atrocious thing to fight in this damn mod if I don't do this. So I get it. I understand. And frankly speaking, I get it. I hate fighting the United States in any game because it is quite a pain in the ass to do. And not only that, it's where I'm from. I get it. The pride. But you have to hear me out. You have to hear me out. I have to do this. It is necessary that I do this for various reasons. Just so that I do not choke, essentially. Because the United States will have better ships than the British by the end of the game. And Japan will be the only nation on par with the American tech by the end of the game. So, by late game, essentially. So you have to bear with me. I will be outdated harshly if I don't do this. And that's why I have to also fight the British too, because it is imperative that I get rid of the big players before they become a big issue, if that makes sense. Big players become big issues. Yeah, that definitely becomes a big reality for me, and I have to bite the bullet when I have to get there, and I do not want to bite the bullet hard. Now, you'll notice that I am not really in a quick, I'm not fighting the French, and you'll be like, why aren't you fighting the French yet? Well, here's the deal with the French. They never get better. They never get better. So I could take my time with them. The only issues that I have with the French in this mod is their horde mentality. They have a horde mentality. They will hoard all their damn units from their colonies to essentially become my problem. To become my problem. So it is not as imperative to fight them, but they will definitely become not much of a naval problem. They'll become more or less a ground fighting problem, as they will be nevertheless throwing like maybe more troops at me than what the freaking American has done already. America has done this mod already. So you've seen the little back and forth in one of my videos where it's like land a bunch of troops, so suddenly all those troops has just now become, less and less and less and less and less. Yeah, that's gonna be fighting the French. It's just gonna be a swarm of units that are gonna become quite a pain in the ass to to do. So it is quite yeah, it will be a big issue later on. So we're gonna have to figure something out here, you know. All right, let's see if we can't try to bullshit our way into taking Washington. I've noticed that there's a lot of freaking home guards here. Holy shit. Ba, ba, ba. There we go. We have seized Washington, D.C., and the capital of the United States. And now it's cleanup time. Time to clean up. So we're going to take all of these transports and we're going to send them down here to outside setting. Take these ones and we'll set these ones outside Hamburg. We'll park that U-boat there with the rest of the U-boats. Sorry, I got a text. Okay. Alright. Okay, we'll send this guy right here to chase this home guard out. Get him out of the way. He's no longer useful. And I'll take that raw material. And you can see here, cashed out raw materials. If you want to. Alright, let's see. Detroit will probably be my next target, because it will be a much easier target. So we're going to wake all of these units up and move them up here, and then we'll conduct we'll just put them on sentry right now till next turn. Detroit will be pretty quick clear because it's not a big city. It's not a priority city, so it's going to get the lightest amount of defense. So that will be a thing. And then all we're just doing now is just cleaning up the rest of the mainland, cleaning up the rest of the American cities. Yep. We're gonna be moving northwest essentially now. We'll take Detroit, Chicago, and then we'll move over to Minneapolis, and then eventually Salt Lake City, and finally Seattle. And then that will be America completely hamstrung. And I mean humstrunged. They will not stand much of a chance after that. We do have a lot of, time now. And we do have quite a bit of production we need to do here. So we're going to switch these production types to the Kaiser class. And we're going to, essentially hurry these productions up a little bit. Now, like I said, this mod did kind of screw up my UI by offering me pretty much fake news. Fake news. So, yeah. Alright. It doesn't look like there's much defender in here. In Detroit, look like just a machine gun and a home guard. It should, yeah, it'll be a relatively quick clear. Let's take an elite cavalry and clean up the city. Maybe. Alright, it looks like they put they recruit, they forced conscripted a couple units. Not a big deal. We'll just blast them out. More than a few. Hope not a dozen. Could be a dozen. Sheesh. There's the recent one they just pushed out. There it goes. Alright, let's see here. We have a lot of elite cavalry that I can't really use, which kind of sucks. Because these are pretty quick ways to get armies, corps, whatever you want to call them. Maybe I can make another elite here doing this. Making more elites is also very, increases the odds. It does increase the odds quite a bit. So, let's see. Nope. Okay, let's send this infantry in. We'll send the infantry in. Boop. And now we'll just clean up Detroit. Henry Ford's workshop is ours. Like I said, small wonder, doesn't offer any bonuses, doesn't make game-changing effects or anything like that. So do that with what you will. Now, since this is far away from Chicago, I'm not pressed, so to speak, to yeah. So we'll wake every one of these units. We'll move them over. And now the battle for Chicago will commence. Now, I don't know how many units are going to be in Chicago. I don't think they're going to have any Maxim guns, but they could be producing them. I know there is a ton of U.S. units in here, U.S. infantry. Oh my gosh, how many is in there? Alright, there's the home guard. Okay, so 1, 2. If I can hit. Come on, hit. Hit. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. What the fuck? 3. Oh my god. Come on. What the hell? Artillery worked, guys. 4, 5. So about 5 units. Oh, there we go. 6. Not counting for all the home guards that just popped up. 7. So probably a good maybe 12 units, maybe 13 units are in the city of Chicago. Alright. I might need more freaking artillery because all these misses are going to be aggravating. Oh, shit. Hum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Alright. Now, I haven't really been paying too much attention to the British-French war that's been going on. I don't know what's been taken, what's not been taken, etc. I will eventually get involved in this war, I think. Or at least their second fight. Because I definitely want some of these cities down here as well, and perhaps across here into Sudan towards Egypt. My big one right now would probably be to take Australia. The Australian outback looks a bit wonky. This will be the easiest to take out of their colonies. But I think my biggest focus would be up here in Canada. Taking Canada would probably be a big, big deal. Would be a big deal. Alright. Let's see. Cincinnati. I want you to switch over to the howitzer. I want you to switch over to the howitzer as well. Atlanta. I want you to switch to the howitzer. I want you to rush the howitzer. I want you to rush the howitzer. Denver. I want you to switch to the howitzer, and I'll rush it for you. Alright, just a lot more artillery goes a long way. More artillery does go a long way, so we're looking for that. They can harass Samoa all they want. I know in San Francisco, Los Angeles, when I get my 3 Kaiser ships out, no, there will be some resistance. There will be some pushback. Hopefully good pushback, but it will be pushback. The Polar Expedition Wonder, we'll need that. That gives us 2 free tech. Alright. And now we have fighters. Fighters in this mod do work the same way. They do scouts, dogfighting, strafe missions. Now, strafe missions are a little different. They're like little bombard missions, but they're not really effective. I wouldn't suggest them. See here, you can execute a strafe, damaging units, land improvements, sometimes population. Obviously, that is something that the Valkyrie E1 fighter will be able to do. They're not great, personally. But you know exactly how fighters work and stuff like that. It can do that. So they're not going to be genuinely that useful, but they are kind of useful in the late game when you have better fighters. Eventually, you'll also get bombers as well, and bombers make things so much easier. Because bombers can actually destroy ships. I don't think they'll destroy units. I do know that they work. The bombers in this mod do work like bombers in the actual game, in the normal game. So that is a big thing that you definitely want to do. Late game for this is literally having aircraft carriers full of bombers that are just gonna pretty much do the work for you. They'll also fight inland so they can support your artillery and stuff like that and your ground forces. So it's definitely a big thing. Course fighters will also be extremely important because if you can build bombers, they'll build bombers, and you definitely want dog fighters out there to keep those bombers away, sort of deal. A kind of deal. But I don't think the AI is going to produce a whole lot of those. Like I said, they don't tend to focus on building support units. They tend to produce giant ships and arms units, ground units. So it is definitely something that you have to look out for. I'm hoping to take Chicago by the end of this video. And we have stalled out for the very early part of the invasion, but it seems like things will now just snowball. It will be snowballing at this point now for the United States war. So, yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there. Pow. Alright. Ever so close. We do have another line of artillery waiting to be used as well, so maybe we can kind of, yeah, shimmy a little bit. With a little luck, maybe we can have Chicago down to an extremely vulnerable state, at least to get rid of their big tough units before the big freaking swarm of militia. Alright, maybe. Alright. Maybe. We'll know when all their big units have all been rendered completely useless. When the tide is just a bunch of militia units. Okay, get rid of that home guard. Alright. Now we commence retaliation efforts. Oh yeah. We're going to be able to retaliate now. We'll be able to keep them off the city, at least for a little bit. Ooh, not great. Not good, not great. Yeah, Gatling guns are still a goddamn problem, unfortunately. it seems like. I haven't even done much damage to this motherfucker other than the artillery. Look, I can't even kill the damn guy. That's so irritating. That is absolutely freaking irritating. Alright. No, bet. Maybe. There we go. Jeez Louise, dude. Jeez, you gotta be joshing me here. You gotta be outrageously joshing me here. Let's see. Um, Looks like I've hit the 30-minute limit, so, I think for the next episode we'll be starting out by, taking Chicago, essentially. So, yes, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, for tuning in for this episode. And if you like this episode, please like it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And obviously to see the other episodes. And with that, my friends, peace out.